So if you're not willing to muster up some humility and make an attempt at growing, shut this podcast down.
Yeah.
You don't, go ahead, don't hear this, because once you're given this information, once you're reading scriptures and understanding, God expects you to start doing the work. He expects that sanctification process to continue.
Welcome again to another episode of Expedition Marriage. I am Chris with my lovely bride Jamie, and welcome to the podcast.
I love you. You're like a game show host.
And welcome again to another episode.
He's got all the hand motions and everything going on.
I am doing hand motions. There's no video. And
no, you are just authentically you all the time, round the clock. I love it.
Thank you very much. Well, you know,
thank you very much.
Thank you. And I was just going to jump right in, but then I thought, when it's just kind of awkward, just jump right in. So let's have some small talk first. How's everybody doing? Doing good? Are we okay? Or the day's going well?
You're ridiculous.
Okay. All right.
Ridiculous.
Well, then we can jump in.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm laughing because sometimes we'll just jump right in, and it's awkward in itself just to jump right in.
No, there's no we. I think you just jump right in. You get so excited.
I do.
You're excited to share. He's such a good teacher, and this falls in your wheelhouse so much. And so I love that. You do get very excited.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say I'm like a Labrador, but
I was absolutely going to say that. That is the exact thought. Not a Labrador, but like a little puppy had just come to mind. Like you just get excited. It's cute.
Just get all worked up. Hey, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Oh, you walk out of the room, walk back. Hey, good to see you again. It's been so long. Okay. All right. So we're talking about patterns today. We're talking about special types of patterns. And because we usually talk a lot about patterns, we do the same things over and over again, and have
whether they work or not.
Yeah, whether they work or not. The same arguments, the same issues, right? There's just these patterns that keep playing over and over again. And it's like a merry-go-round that we just can't get off of. And they really can sometimes dominate our interactions with each other. It keeps us from being able to be connected. And it's really because these interaction patterns are harmful.
Yeah, and they're left unevaluated.
Yes.
We just do them automatically. Our patterns become automatic, and they're ruts that we get stuck in.
Or we'll come up with reasons why the other person keeps doing the pattern, but we're not really examining.
Which is ironically going to be one of the patterns that we're going to talk about.
Ironically. Foreshadowing. But good, look, ultimately, guys, we want you to have a marriage that honors and pleases God. And one of the ways that we do that is we recognize some of the things that are going on that are keeping us from achieving that work against that, which patterns, there's good patterns, but there's also these negative patterns that leave us feeling stuck and misunderstood and just disconnect us. And we're relational beings. We're created for relationship. We're two becoming one flesh. So the specific ones we're talking about are the games that people play. And we have good news as well. We're going to talk about the negative ones, but we're also going to help bring awareness to this and God's truth about these interactions, these patterns, so we can break free from the patterns. And we can really work on building a marriage that's rooted in grace and creating more safety, more emotional safety.
Right. And these games, these aren't like fun games that we're talking about. They're somewhat manipulative games, but also not like intentionally manipulative, and maybe some of them may be intentional, but they're not evil. That's a very strong word.
Yeah.
But,
there's not the heart.
Yes.
The intention isn't there to be specifically hurtful.
Yes, you're not trying to be destructive. You're not trying to be controlling and manipulative like that. But they are manipulative games. But it's more about I need to manipulate this situation so I can feel emotionally safe.
Yeah, or I get defensive so that way I can feel emotionally safe. And none of these are premeditated.
No.
They're usually even unconscious, but we still follow these predictable steps, these predictable dance moves that have some of these hidden motives that are just trying to get needs met.
Yeah. And so we want to work some of these games backwards because in these, we play these games for a reason.
Yeah. Sure.
And most of the time, a lot of things are based on fear and insecurities.
Yeah.
They're big underlying components in some of these games. Past wounds, our upbringing, things like that, and spiritual immaturity. And so those things like lead us to rely on manipulation instead of connection.
Right.
They're safer. And so we want that. We do want the control, but not in the controlling, narcissistic way.
Yeah. Control is predictable.
Right. It's safe.
It's safe because I know what the outcomes should be.
Right. And so we're doing these things so we can have validation, so we can have protection, but we don't always go about these things in the right ways.
Right.
When we're playing these games, there's a component of dishonesty to them. And that's a little bit what we're going to talk about, because if you think about it like this, when we talk with couples, oftentimes we help them understand that there's usually a thing underneath the thing. So here's the thing we're talking about, which is the game we're playing, but that's not really the issue. There's an issue underneath it.
Right.
And that's more about the validation we need, the emotional connection that we need, the emotional needs we have that need to be met. Those are often, or the fears and insecurities, those are the things underneath the thing we call the games we play.
Right. Yeah. We're trying to overcome those. It's really weird. Like you said, it's a thing behind the thing, or the thing behind the thing behind the thing.
Keep up with that.
Yeah. We deal with symptoms a lot. We see something and go, oh, that's what we're dealing with. That's what's going on. And then we'll deal with that the best we know how to. And then it doesn't really get dealt with, and it keeps coming back up, and we keep coming back around to this and keep coming around.
So it's here we go again.
Oh yeah, that's the deja vu.
Same thing, different day.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, it's because we're never addressing the real issues. We're never getting past it. And look, sometimes we don't know what the real issue is.
No, and a lot of us are doing what we've always done. I mean, even from childhood.
Right.
We may be doing what we've seen our parents do. We may, like you're saying, and this I think is majority of the cases, we don't really know what that thing underneath the thing is. And so that's what we want to help you with, is to dial this all back and help you kind of unpeel, remove that game, put that game back on the shelf, and then deal with what's really going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a great way to put that. To gain some awareness so we could be intentional about doing something different.
Yeah, because people don't ever change something that they don't know they're doing. So it's like nobody's going to fix a problem they don't know that they're having.
Right. That's the challenge. We know we have a problem. We don't know what the problem is.
Right.
All I know is I don't want to have the problem.
Right. And this is where what we mentioned about spiritual immaturity. This is where spiritual maturity comes in, is when we know better, we have to do better. So if you're not willing to muster up some humility and make an attempt at growing, shut this podcast down.
Yeah.
You don't, go ahead, don't hear this, because once you're given this information, once you're reading scriptures and understanding, God expects you to start doing the work. He expects that sanctification process to continue.
Absolutely.
Because like the word, do not merely be hearers of the word and not do what it says, because then you're just deceiving yourself.
Right. Oh yeah. It's
the same
James
thing.
5.
We can't sit here and gain an understanding or gain insight as to what we're doing wrong and then go, you know what, here's what you're supposed to do right, but I'm not going to do that. We can't do that. As believers, we are called to grow and to work these things out.
Oh yeah. Go, baby.
There you go.
Yeah. So let's talk about one of those games.
Yeah. And we're going to give you a few examples.
Yeah.
I mean, there are tons more, but we're going to give a few, and hopefully that will help some insight.
To wrap your heads around it. Some of the more common ones. So one's called Why Don't You? Yes, But. Okay.
It's a two-player game.
It is.
As these all are. But
It is. It works better when it's, if it's just you in a mirror that's weird.
Yeah, it could be a family game, but we don't recommend that.
Yeah. So one person's complaining about a situation, and then the other one, the spouse, they offer a solution, but each solution is met with a, yeah, but. Yes, but that won't work. Or here's why that won't work.
Here's why your solution is dumb.
Here's your feeling. And so, you know, and I've played this in the past where I may have been complaining like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I really wanted to work on my 5K practice or couch to 5K. I just don't have time for that. And then Jamie will give me, out of love, try to offer up solutions.
Like get up early.
Yeah, which usually always seem
He doesn't like that one.
Get up. They always include sleep deprivation. I don't know why.
Well, then it's go to bed on time.
Shh, stop. Yes, but.
Hey, you brought up this example.
I would go to sleep earlier, but. That's game number. That's another game.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah. It's my fault, isn't it?
Yeah. If it worked for you, it's another game. We'll get to that. So, don't skip ahead. But usually, it's a lot more about the venting. It's a lot more about the validating than it is I'm coming to you with my issue for you to solve.
Yeah, that's the thing underneath the thing.
That's the thing underneath the thing. And here's the catch. When we try to solve somebody's issue who's not looking for the issue to be solved, we'll get frustrated by their keep knocking us away. We'll feel unheard, and you know, because I'm just trying to help, but obviously you don't want my help, or you right. So it pushes.
Yeah, if you're not willing to do anything about it, then quit complaining.
Pushes you away, and so now there's this,
which is usually where that conversation goes to.
Yeah, absolutely, the disconnect.
You both lose that game.
Yeah, it is a losing game.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on, right? Some of that need is, so if I'm sharing something, then maybe I'm just looking for affirmation. I'm just looking for validation. I'm looking for you to go, wow, that's hard. And not for you to fix that. Not for when Jamie's saying, I was just on the phone with so-and-so, and then we were having such a hard time, for me to go, well, why do you just talk to her? I don't know why you keep, it always happens that way. That's not what she's looking for. So husbands, that's not what your spouse is looking for. And oftentimes, we don't wait long enough. We don't listen long enough to hear what the thing behind the thing even is. They might get to it. We might not even have to ask. They might get to it if we would just let them share and then listen. Like James 1:19 asks us to be quick to listen and slow to speak. All right, so let's gather that information. It says that to the other person, well, you're important enough for me to take that time to listen, and it will prevent you from feeling that you're unheard and that you don't matter when you're offering that advice. And then I don't want to get too deep on this, but just this is
yes, you do.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, yes, I do. I'm worried about getting too deep. When somebody has a struggle that they're sharing and they're not soliciting advice, but you're giving them advice, the unintended message is you're not good the way you are. You need to change in order to be accepted. You need to be changed in order for me to love you like you're wanting me to love. If you're telling me, hey, you're not good the way you are and you need to change, and I'm not going to take your advice very well.
Yeah.
So now this is some of the things behind the things, right?
Now for you, I want, because I have my own example of that,
Sure.
but for you, where it is like, I don't have enough time. I want to get these things done, but I just can't, not enough time. What is your thing? Because this is what we're going to ask you to do, is to ask yourself, what is it I really am needing here? What is it I need to communicate here? So what is your thing beneath the thing? In saying, like, I don't have enough time, because if you don't want the solution, because you're a smart man and I'm a smart woman, we're not stumped.
Accused of that before.
Yeah, we're not stumped with figuring out these solutions. So most of the time we already know. But what is it you're looking for from me when you're saying, I don't have enough time to do all these things that are like that I would consider to be important, good things that I want to be doing, and I don't have enough time to do them? If you're not looking for a solution, what are you personally looking for?
Yeah, probably just affirmation is not the right word. There's a little bit, I guess, validated.
So like acceptance?
Acceptance. There's a fear base, which I think most men will have, that we're failing. And we want to maybe, I guess, reassurance.
Reassurance.
Yeah. Reassurance is probably would be key. Saying, hey, you know what? I get that it must be hard for you. I know that's something that you want to do, but this might just be the season. We just had a podcast, a couple podcast episodes ago. This might be a season where that might need to take a less important role, or
you need more grace in that.
Yeah, you definitely need more grace for myself and from you as my spouse.
So, and here's where it's double responsibility.
Yeah.
Because I want to always help him, and you should always want to be a help to your spouse.
Sure.
But you should always also communicate what you really need.
Yes.
So you both should do both of those things. And so in that, instead of you maybe just starting with the complaints and all of that, starting instead with like things that you were just saying.
Yeah.
Like, this is just making me feel like a failure. I feel like I don't have enough time and things, and I want to be doing these important things, but it's like I'm just running out of time and I can't seem to get them done. It's making me feel like trash about myself.
Right.
And now I get to offer empathy to that and go, gosh, that stinks. I know these things are important to you, but then I can also be like, is there anything I can do to help?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing. It's, what do you need from me right now? Do you need just support? Do you need advice? Do you need prayer? Goodness, there's so many husbands out there who are just like, I don't know what to do. I feel helpless and I don't pray.
Yeah, the Lord knows what to do. And imagine that if we seek him, he just might tell us. He might just provide.
Sure.
And for myself in this situation, because we play this game a little differently. I have different rules than you do, for this game. But I'm more of a venter. With things. And so I will come at you with I'm totally overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. I have all this stuff to do or whatever it is, a situation that I'm upset over. And the last thing I'm asking for is advice, but I'm sharing all of this stuff with you. And then you will enter in with advice.
Usually before you're done talking.
Yeah. And I'm instantly like, yeah, but I can't do that. But I can't, or even if it's like, today it's been so hard. I'm so tired. I'm not getting sleep. Well, you just need to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but where's the validation? Where's the empathy for today was a hard day for me? And so how we fix that, how we quit playing the game and deal with the thing underneath the thing.
Right.
Is me coming to you going, you know what? I don't need you to fix this. I just need to vent. Today's been a trash day. I'm overwhelmed. I'm exhausted, and I just need to vent.
Yeah.
I just need to dump this.
Sure.
And then you get to say, well, what do you need from me?
Right.
It's like, or let me just sit here and listen and validate. Let me pray for you. Let me tell you I'm going to pray for you. Either one.
Yeah.
And now we've dealt with the real issue.
Sure. Well, until I validate you, you're going to resist help. Because that's not what you're wanting.
No.
And so my solutions aren't solving the problem.
No, I'm just sharing that I'm upset.
Yeah.
I don't need you to fix things.
And so that's probably one of the more, or I don't want to say most, but more common one where that situation, the venting, why are we falling into problems with this? Because we're not understanding the need, so we're not responding to the thing behind the thing.
Yes, and so it's personal responsibility for both of you to be a resource for your spouse and to be honest. And so in that situation, if I'm overwhelmed by something, I need to look at that as a light bulb moment and start asking myself, what is it I really need?
Yeah.
What do I need? Because I need to be able to communicate my needs to him instead of asking you to figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out on your own. And the same goes for you.
You mean I don't have some sort of like magic crystal ball?
No, we're not back in like 6th grade shaking our magic 8 balls. What does my wife need right now? Yeah, wouldn't that be ideal though?
Ask again later.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to learn how to communicate what we're really looking for.
Sure.
Because else we're going to end up in a fight that's like, well, then you're not going to listen to anything I'm saying. And so you must not really want the help or you don't even want to try. And now we're disconnected and we've moved farther apart.
And once again, we're same argument, different day.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Here we go again.
Here we go again. And if it weren't for you,
introducing game number 2.
Game number 2 that we're going to talk about, like what we said before. Well, why don't you just get up earlier? Well, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't
talking late at
up.
night.
Yeah,
I know where this is going.
If it weren't for you, when your head hits the pillow, that it revs up revs you up. My head hits the pillow. I want to go to sleep. Right? It is.
Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. I don't know how you do that. It's like,
but it's a pushing off of the blame. Right.
It's your fault that I'm not better.
Yeah. It's others' fault for my personal inaction.
Yeah. My success, my happiness, my growth. I can't grow as long as you're doing this.
Right. It is a way that I could avoid some personal responsibility because I've taken that and I've pushed it away from me.
Yeah. It's victimhood.
Oh yeah. And so it does. It keeps us in a victim mindset. If just the world would change. I'm just waiting on the world to change instead of...
Yeah, I'm at the mercy of my spouse. If I want to get better, I need you to get on board.
Sure. And look, we're not saying that there's not issues. Like if you have small babies or infants that cry and wake you up, yeah, okay, that's going to be hard.
It is their fault you're tired.
It is their fault. But in our case, what you were saying, it's, if you just get up earlier, well, but I can't. But here's why I can't. Because you stay up late or you're what... I can go to bed earlier. I can get earplugs. I can put the eye mask on, right? There's things I can do that I know. Jamie's getting this visual.
That's adorable.
With pink slippers, fuzzy slippers.
Picturing you in a little eye mask.
with monster eyes on it.
But even with that, it's like you can communicate your need. You can communicate, babe, I'm really tired. I've been really tired lately, or I want to get up early and be able to do this, so I got to go to bed earlier. And even telling me before, like, can we not talk late at night tonight? Or I'm going to go off to bed. Things like that. Like, you have to communicate what your needs are.
Sure.
Because sometimes the issue really is the other person's fault. Let's say you have financial goals and somebody keeps racking up a charge card. Or keeps buying things that keeps going out of the boundaries that you've set. Well, we're kind of broke because of you. That might be true. But handling it by playing this game and saying it's your fault.
Yeah, if it weren't for you.
We can't get out of debt. That may be true, but playing that game will not get you to resolution.
No, not at all.
So how you get to that resolution is, you know what? We set these boundaries. Here's our common goal. We want to get out of debt. We can't be spending like this.
Yeah.
And take that personal responsibility on both of you, but you have this mutual conversation.
Right. You work as a team. Own your own choices, but then invite growth as a team. You all are a team. You've got each other's back.
And if you can't do that teamwork, like that is a sign where, you know what, maybe we need a third party in here.
Yeah.
Because if we're not able to work as a team, then you potentially need a coach.
Right.
Telling you what the best plays are and how to play them and why, and working on that together.
Absolutely. The first step is taking responsibility for your own choices.
Yeah.
There is a judgment seat. If you're not aware of it, there's one day we will stand before God and have an account before him. Romans 14:12 says, each one of you will give an account of himself to God.
Of himself.
Herself
or also.
Or herself.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not, if it weren't for my spouse, if they just weren't doing this, it's just they were.
There's not a clause in there.
It's not going to go well. Right. Did you do what you were asked to do?
I would have, but yeah, it's not going to work.
If my wife didn't criticize me how I do things, I would have been a lot more helpful.
Okay, that's preaching to somebody out there right now.
But, right, so first start with yourself, then invite, right, have grace, invite growth as a team, right? Invite to work as a team. How can we, two becoming one flesh, work this out?
Yeah.
Because another way that sometimes we go at this instead is with another game that's, now I got you.
Sucker.
Now I've got you where I want you. Now you've done it.
This is probably the one that feels the most manipulative.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the one I think where most husbands are thinking that their wives are playing.
Are setting them up.
Oh, yeah. They're feeling it's a test. It's a setup. If you were just waiting for me to do that wrong, why didn't you just say something instead of waiting for me to do that wrong?
In fairness to the husbands out there, a lot of times it is a bit of a setup, but it's not malicious. Mm-hmm. It's done out of a place of desperation, out of a place of longing and some insecurities. And so it is a little bit of a setup because we want to be seen a little bit. And so I just want to throw that out there for the guys.
Yeah. Well, and even then, because sometimes you'll get the major blow up over a small thing. And so it's like, I don't understand. So sometimes it's the, I don't know, it lights the fuse. It's the last straw, that kind of thing, where it's almost an excuse to unload all this other pent up aggression. And pent up aggression usually has hurt feelings behind it. Feeling that someone's been treating you wrongly, inadequately.
Yeah, this is usually a game you play because you get to a certain point before you start playing this game, I think. I think you've had a little bit of a history of disappointment or of hurt, and that will lead, at least for women, to play that game a little bit. Then that's kind of like on a small scale. It's you asked your husband to take the trash out in the morning, and it's getting around dinner time and all that, and you know that they haven't done it, but you are not going to ask again, and you are not going to remind them because you're banking that they're going to forget. And then come 8:00 at night or whenever it's late and you know that ship has sailed for them to remember. And then you say, did you take the trash out? And now, got you. I got you. So now I'm presenting you with proof that you keep hurting me.
Yeah.
And that you keep disappointing me, because that's the whole point of that game is I need you to see that what you're doing hurts me.
Yeah. You've been dismissive. You've been invalidating, and you've just been pushing it off like it's not a big deal. And now here's my chance to show you that it is a big deal and that you are doing harmful things that you've not been recognizing.
Yes. And there is unforgiveness in it. And there is like a little bit of a need for superiority, but it's not in the I'm better than you, but it also kind of is. You're the wrong one in this, and I've got proof for it.
Yeah.
But it's not to be like, oh, I'm better than you, but it is more like I need you to see that you are at fault, because if you see that, you will fix it. You will change.
Yeah, you've been telling me that I don't matter through your actions.
Yes.
You've been telling me that how I feel about things don't matter, that I'm feeling unloved because of how you've been neglecting the things that you've been saying that you're going to do, or the things I've asked you to do. And so now I can show you proof positive that you don't love me by your actions.
Right. And there is also the element when you're talking about that of sometimes, because I've certainly done this, I'm not going to remind you again, or I'm not going to ask you, because if I have to remind you, then I'm never going to get the assurance from you doing it on your own. Because when you do it on your own, it says that I love you and I see you and I see the need you have and I will meet it, to where it's like, I'm not going to ask you because if I have to ask you, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you don't care. Because if you really cared, I wouldn't have to remind you. I wouldn't have to ask you.
Right. And I'll take that step further to meet the need, because the need matters to you because you matter to me.
Yeah. And that's the thing beneath the thing. And so we're not trying to control the other spouse. We're more so going, I need to know that you are invested and that you care.
Yeah. Am I loved?
And so I'm setting you
enough?
up for this so you can learn to see me. And that's kind of what we're looking for. And so what you do with that is learn to look inward when you are tempted to do that and go, what is really going on here? And then it might be having the conversation later, more on the team level of, babe, I asked you to take out the trash this morning and it's 8:00 tonight and you still didn't do it. I need you to know how that makes me feel.
Right.
I need you to know that it gives me more stress when I have to do it in the middle of the day with the kids or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're really sharing that.
Right. Well, because it's like, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to you.
Yeah.
But here's what it means when you don't do it. Here's the underlying messages about my worth and how much I matter to you when you don't do it. And look, guys, Colossians 3:13 says to bear with each other and forgive one another. It's an ongoing, especially in marriages, an ongoing task. Ephesians 4:2 says that with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love. That's a tall task.
Yeah.
That's a tall task. So when we're able to extend that grace, when we're able to actually seek some understanding and to be able to share with each other what's really going on and being vulnerable about that, which is a big, big ask, right? Then that's where really some growth, some knitting of souls happens.
Yeah, because on both sides, extending grace because, okay, you forgot to take the trash out again. And it's like, I'm going to forgive that. And I'm going to understand maybe it's hard for you to remember that, but also for you to look at me and extend that same grace going, you know what, my wife shouldn't have to ask me for that. I do need to understand that it leaves her with that task sometimes, or it makes her day a little bit harder.
Right.
And trade out the trash for any other example with that, because for some men, it is with the trash situation, it is like, you know what, I don't think I should have to take out the trash. I don't care. I don't care that I'm forgetting to do it. You could do it. It's no big deal. It's a trash. And that's wrong. And that needs to be talked about in a conversation like we had just shared. But other times it's like he's been busy at work all day and he really genuinely is forgetting. And now I can be a helper to him by going, hey, can you please do this?
Right. Yeah. Well, or, you know, you can be a little passive aggressive and you can just take the trash and tie it up and put it on the stairs.
There is that third
on the stairs right in front of the garage door so they can't make it into the house without taking the trash out.
Subtle.
Okay.
I don't know how you know that.
No, but right. So it's the thing behind the thing. And it leads us to playing these games that aren't premeditated. We're usually unconscious. And they're trying to achieve needs that we tend not to achieve because we're not aware. So that's those are the things we want to do, right? That's why we're bringing it up. We want to become aware that there are these patterns, that these things exist, that these kind of games exist, and why. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Figure that out. Own your own part in this. Is there something that I need to share differently? Or are we going out to play catch with each other figuratively, and I'm beaming that ball right at your head? Or are we just doing a gentle game of catch back and forth? It's a completely different game, how that happens.
And if you're trying to do things more as a team and to have these healthy conversations and they're not getting anywhere and you're getting gridlocked, get some help.
Yeah.
Get some help for that.
There's help out there. There's us, there's books, there's church studies, there's, a whole bunch of things. So,
because even, as we're saying that, like we have heard so many times, I know when you're counseling couples and stuff, they're like, yeah, but I tried that. He won't. I tried this. She won't. Yeah, but. Yeah. And yes. And it's like, you have to do things differently. Or maybe you have to do them a few more times because you're introducing a new pattern.
Right.
Patterns don't break easily. No. There's got to be grace in the process.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not going to just flip a pattern on a dime. We have to replace it with better things. We have to get good at it. You've heard me say this, hopefully, if you've been listening long enough. We get good at what we practice. Well, we've been practicing the wrong things for a long time and gotten really good at them. Now we got to practice better things, connecting things to replace the other things and get good at those. But it's going to take a while to get good at those. Right.
So how do you break free from these games?
Yeah, that is. I mean, right, we become aware. We own our part, right?
Yeah.
We have to have our own
to know you're playing the game.
You got to know what your part is, what your need. It's that way you can say it, you can communicate it. And when you communicate it, use the I statements. I feel, I'm doing this, and not accusations. When we say
you don't ever listen to me.
Yeah. That's at playing catch, and then I've just chucked a ball at your head. We're changing up the game. If we want a nice game, we want to keep it in a way that keeps everybody off of their defenses. As much as possible, right? As much as you can. And look, invite God into that interaction.
Yeah.
Right? Pray on your own. Pray together as a couple. pray for each other.
Pray
and over each other.
silently in the moment.
Absolutely.
Like, Lord,
That's a
help me
great
with this.
idea.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to respond right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what to say.
Absolutely. And like we said, reach out. There's help to be found. There is help to be found.
Yeah, be committed to growing. Be committed to going, you know what? Now that we know we're playing these games, be committed to changing them.
Don't settle.
Yes, be committed to doing something new.
Love that. Love that. And with the idea of prayer, let me go ahead and pray for you right now. I'm going to send you off with this prayer. Father God, we just pray for awareness for this individual, for this couple, for the things that are going on. Show them where they need growth. Show them where the needs are. Show them how they can engage differently. We just pray you give them the humility to be able to accept that and to be able to be willing to accept their parts and grow in that area. We pray for deeper connection for these marriages. And we just pray for new patterns that are rooted in you, Jesus. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. As always, if this episode hit home for you, don't forget to share it with your spouse. Like, we would love it if you were listening together, but if you're not, send it to them. Send it to a friend who needs to hear it, because this stuff will change your marriage in a holy way. You know, this will help you become more like Christ as individuals, and your marriage will look more like God intends it to. And if you're struggling in this area and you want to learn more from us about how to have healthy conflict, we want to invite you to check out our Love Your Way Through Conflict course. It is practical, it's biblical, and we designed it to help you handle all of these disagreements in a way that actually brings you closer instead of further apart. And as a podcast listener, we're going to give you 50% off with a special code, and we will put that in the show notes along with the link where you can go get more info and check it out. Because we just don't want you to wait till you have the next same old familiar game or big blow up in order to get help. So go ahead, invest in your growth and your marriage today. We'll see you next episode.